Alright, welcome back! You are watching the Video Boys Amazing Spider-Man review. Here we go with part 2. Let's jump in where we left off. Peter awakens, startled by the people on the train. In a hilarious sequence, Peter rips a woman's shirt off.
Get your hand off her.
I'm trying to get my... Then, when a good Samaritan tries to defend the poor woman's honor, Peter beats him up. Then, in an equally hilarious sequence, Peter beats up several other people who are also trying to be good Samaritans. Does it make anyone else uncomfortable to watch this? I get that this is supposed to be funny, but I mean, come on. These poor guys are trying to help that woman, and instead they get beaten senseless. Look at the terrified expression on the woman's face, too. There's nothing funny about this. Oh, and the hilarity doesn't stop there, because when Peter returns home, he starts acting very strangely.
That's a fly, Peter.
What the hell is going on in this movie? There's nothing funny about this either. Look how scared his elderly old aunt and uncle look. They think he's on drugs. This scene goes on for way too long, and it's just so painful to watch. And then there's this whole thing with Peter up in his room, and he keeps breaking stuff, but he doesn't seem that alarmed that he's breaking stuff. He just seems kind of annoyed for some reason. But then earlier when he had that plate and that fly, he didn't break them, so I don't know. I'm not sure how consistent his strength is. I hate this. This movie is called The Amazing Spider-Man, so why isn't he doing anything amazing? Remember in the original Spider-Man film all the cool stuff that happened that caused the other Peter to realize he had powers? He woke up in the morning with a more muscular body, he caught Mary Jane when she fell in the cafeteria, and he beat up Flash Thompson, the school bully. That movie actually made us like Spider-Man's powers, but this is just uncomfortable and weird. It's weird! So, like the original, The Amazing Spider-Man also has a scene where Peter must overcome a bully. It's done quite differently though, and again, it's uncomfortable to watch. In the original bully scene, Peter is surprised when he learns that he's able to dodge punches and perform flips, and the looks on his face actually do provide some good bits of comedy. The audience felt as though they were discovering the powers with him, and that's the way we should feel. When Peter does eventually defeat Flash, he looks surprised and actually really sorry. He literally didn't know his own strength. In the new bully scene, Peter is well aware of his abilities and how they can be used to embarrass Flash. Peter here is much more mean-spirited, and I actually found myself empathizing with Flash more than I was with Peter. I mean, Peter just doesn't quit until Flash is completely humiliated. He only shows signs of guilt when he accidentally breaks the backboard and realizes that he's gonna get in trouble. Even when he's trying to explain himself to Uncle Ben, Peter only apologizes for breaking the backboard.
Pay for the backboard, you know that. I don't care about the backboard. Was that true? What? What I heard in there just now. Did you humiliate that boy?
Which leads into this stupid scene.
She looks familiar. She's the girl in your computer. Yeah, he's got you on his computer.
Yeah, I mean, like, I took a photo of the debate team, and you're in the debate team, so.
Right.
So, he must have seen, I was touching up stuff.
You're touching up stuff.
Come on. I'm not gonna answer that.
Oh, so terrible. Am I the only one that misses corny romantic dialogue like this?
And what for me?
For you, you're gonna light up Broadway.
Alright, so what's going on now? A skateboarding montage? What? There's actually a skateboarding montage? Let's just skip this part. Okay, so here's the part we knew was coming. After getting into a fight with his aunt and uncle, Peter storms out of the house in the middle of the night and decides to go buy some chocolate milk. Okay. But then he gets into an argument with the clerk because he's 2 cents short of being able to pay for his chocolate milk. The store is then robbed, and the criminal actually steals the chocolate milk for Peter. That was actually really nice of him. When the clerk asks Peter to help him catch the criminal, Peter says, no. Here's where things get a little sticky. Uncle Ben is walking down the sidewalk looking for Peter, and when the criminal falls down, Uncle Ben goes for his gun? What? The two of them fight over the gun, and Uncle Ben is incidentally shot. Let's compare this to the original film. In that film, a rude man is also robbed. Peter also doesn't intervene, which also leads to Uncle Ben's death. But the details make all the difference. In this movie, Uncle Ben's death was his own fault, not Peter's. The gunshot was an accident that could have easily been avoided. The original story presented Ben's death as a carjacking. There was nothing the old man could have done, but there was easily something Peter could have done. Having it be an accident ruins everything, because in this movie there is no lesson Peter learns from Uncle Ben's death. It's just a tragedy that happens. Remember the theme of, with great power comes great responsibility? That iconic line is never mentioned in this movie. Peter learns nothing, and we learn nothing. Uncle Ben is just dead. That's it. Now stop, because I know what you're thinking. I've heard tons of people say to me that even though the line, with great power comes great responsibility, is often attributed to Uncle Ben in the comics never actually said that. The line actually originated from a narrative bubble in the final panel of the Origin comic. Regardless, to me, the lesson about power and responsibility isn't really about who did or didn't say it, but whether or not our main character, Peter Parker, actually learns it. Whether Ben was vocal or not about teaching life lessons, his death, nonetheless, should have still been a turning point that inspires Peter to want to use his abilities to prevent further tragedies. But it isn't. Peter learns nothing, and he actually starts to act like more of a jerk than he was before.
Stop, get off, man! No! Come on, let me go! Stop it! Dude, that isn't funny!
It is
Come
kind
on,
of funny,
help!
This scene is horrible. It's not funny, it's mean-spirited and cruel. This poor man is being humiliated and is begging for his dignity, and Spider-Man just won't give it to him. Didn't Uncle Ben tell him not to humiliate people?
Pay for the backboard, you know that.
I don't care about the backboard. Was that true?
What?
When I heard in there just now, did you humiliate that boy?
And this is Peter confronting who he thinks is his uncle's killer. Remember Peter's confrontation with his uncle's killer in the original trilogy? Peter was actually emotional and mad.
Don't hurt me. Just give me a chance. Just give me a chance! What about my uncle? Did you give him a chance? Did you?
And in Spider-Man 3, he was even madder.
Remember Ben Parker? The old man you shot down in cold blood?
What does it matter to you anyway?
Everything!
In this movie, Peter's sadistic cruelty further makes his character even less relatable. And did I mention that this man turns out to not even be the right guy? Peter never finds his uncle's actual killer in this movie, and there is never any closure given to the storyline. So, if Uncle Ben's death isn't a turning point and didn't teach Peter anything, then what is? Something's gotta turn him around, right?
He's an amateur who's assaulting civilians in the dead of night. He's clumsy, he leaves clues, but still dangerous.
He's assaulting people? I'm not sure. I mean, I saw that video with him and the car thief, and I think most people would say that he was providing a public service.
Most people would be wrong. The car thief was leading us to the people who run the entire operation. It's been a 6-month-long sting. It's called strategy. I'm sure you're aware of the term strategy. You've probably heard about that in school.
Yeah. He didn't know you had a plan.
A dinner with the chief of police where Peter learns about proper crime-solving protocol. That's the big turning point. Not Uncle Ben's death. That was apparently quite inconsequential. It's his dinner with Captain Stacy that transforms Peter into a responsible superhero. And they called this the Amazing Spider-Man? Thanks for watching part 2. I'll see you next time for part 3, when the lizard attacks! But does Spider-Man have what it takes to outsmart him?
Peter Parker.
No. And look out for these other coming videos too. Coming soon to VideoBoysReviews.com. See you next time.